Welcome to Whiskey's a Journey. My name is Peter Fasciano, and today is Friday. I have another Battle of the Bottles coming at you. Today, I already got them poured because I jumped the gun and I poured them. But what I ended up doing is randomly selecting this from my random sample selection. I'm a Whiskey Promiscuous channel, so this could be anything. They could be bourbons, they could be rye, American single malts, Japanese, Irish. It could be anything. I hope you get the idea. So they're poured. I'm going to nose them and taste them, let you know what I think of them. At the very end of the video, I will let you know which one I like the most and then reveal which ones they are. I'm going to pull them off the shelf, take a look at the price and the proof just to remind myself of what they are. And if you are interested in winning any of these samples or 6 2-ounce samples of anything that I reviewed in August, I have a giveaway happening right now. If you're interested, read the rules in the description below. These smell very sweet. Let me go ahead and start with the glass on my left. And boy, it's really dark. I don't know if you can see the difference, but glass number 1 looks much darker than glass number 2. But just by picking that up, that smells really sweet. I think we're dealing with a bourbon here. I think that's pretty obvious. Based on the nose, it's very, very oaky, very bourbon-esque, vanilla, brown sugar, caramel, a little cherry. I don't know if it would be very proofy, but there's a lot of cherry and a lot of vanilla. It smells absolutely fantastic. A little bit dusty, a little dusty. When I say dusty, it kind of has a like a peanut shell dust to it. What is it? Is it Jim? Yeah, Jim. I think Jim Beam is pretty classic with those dusty, nutty notes. So that's kind of what's coming out of here. Just that. I don't know what it is yet, but it's coming out as dusty peanut shell. Not peanut butter, but just dusty peanut shells. Lots of oak. All right, smells really good. Can't wait to get this on the palate. My mouth is watering as I speak, so let's go ahead and get it on the palate and see if the nose matches the palate. Ooh, yeah, that is a little bit proofy. I know that's my first sip of the day, but it does have that effervescent vanilla, little bit of tobacco, some chocolate. That cherry note is definitely coming through, and that dusty peanut shell note is there quite a bit. Maybe a little bit of over 100 proof, but whatever that is, it's very good. Let me go ahead and get a rinse of water and then move on to glass number 2. Glass 2, not as dark, not as vibrant on the nose as glass 1. Still a little bit of a dusty peanut note, a little bit higher on the spice. Actually, did glass 1 have spice? Yeah, there's a little bit of spice there, but I think glass 2 is a little spicier on the nose. Pepper, ginger, that's kind of how, when I say spice, I kind of get that note. I wouldn't say that it is cooking spice, like a Christmas cooking spice. This is more along the lines of pepper and ginger. Pretty oaky as well. Yeah, lower on the vibrancy. Yeah. It's almost somebody took the volume knob and turned it down. It's just not as loud as glass 1. Still smells pretty good, but not as good as 1. So cheers, everyone. Ooh, a little oaky bitterness there. A little too much tannin on the side of the tongue. It does have a peppery note, and the oak is finishing pretty bitter on the back end. It's not as well rounded as glass number 1, but on that nose, maybe there's a slight amount of fruity note. And that fruit, I would have to say somewhere around cherry. But the cherry note coming out of here is much stronger. Yeah, the more I'm smelling this one, the more oak, like a bitter oak note is coming out. Let me go ahead and get another sip on that. Yeah, oaky and bitter. That's what it kind of hits the front of the palate, the mid palate, and on the finish, it's all oak notes and all bitterness. And then taking a back seat to all of that would be a little bit of a spice. Well, more of a spice in here than here. And then cherry and vanilla. Not so much brown sugar or caramel, but it's hidden way behind, or it's hidden behind the oakiness, a bitter oakiness. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to get my palate rinsed, calm it down a little bit, and then go back the other direction to see how each of these play off of one another going the opposite direction. So what I'm going to do is off camera, I'm going to take some notes. I'm going to have my notebook right here. Take a little bit of notes, see if anything else stands out. And then when I come back, I'll have a winner. Before I go, if you like this information and you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. Turn that bell notification on because I produce videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. All right, see you in a little bit. All right, I am back. And I got to tell you, glass number 2 ruined glass number 1. I really enjoyed glass number 1. If I would have just had this on its own without tainting my palate with glass number 2, I think this would have been a winner. I mean, it is the winner right now, but after I drank glass number 2, it left a horrible taste in my mouth, and no matter how long I let it sit and no matter how much I actually rinsed my palate, I could not get the notes from glass number 2 out of my mouth, and it tainted the experience of glass number 1. So here's what I got. Glass 2 came across as a bitter oak flat note. It had the dusty peanut shell note as well. And as I sipped it a little bit more and more, there was like a dirt, earth, musty note that lingered around that wasn't pleasant, and it added to the bitter oak notes that I originally got. The spice turned really peppery, and it did not balance well with the faint notes of cherry and vanilla. The overall experience was also very drying, and the leather and tobacco again added to the bitterness of it. So all around, I'm not a big fan of glass number 2, and that could also be influenced by how good glass number 1 initially was on its own in a different situation. Only drinking this, those notes might be different, but I got to tell you, glass number 1, those initial notes of sweet cherry, vanilla, the oak kind of came in waves. You got the oakiness right up front, then it ended up being pretty dusty peanut shelly, and then the oak hit again in the very back of the palate. That effervescence was there, the spice was there, but it wasn't a high spice like glass 2. And then the leather and the tobacco note added a little bit extra to it. It didn't turn bitter like glass number 2, but it was borderline right there. And then again, after I went back after glass number 2, glass number 1 kind of went downhill, and all of the notes that I'm getting in glass 2 showed up in glass number 1 as well. So my guess is going to be they're going to be in the same family. I don't see the notes being that far apart. Now, as far as the flavors go, they're extremely far apart, but I think those notes are pretty consistent with being in the same family. Like I had mentioned at the very beginning, I get a dusty peanut shelled note out of Jim Beam products, so I'm wondering if this is a Jim Beam product. The oaky notes that I'm getting, I'm just wondering if this is a higher aged matchup with Jim Beam. So let's find out. There's no reason to prolong it any further. Glass number 1 has it hands down over glass number 2. Kind of wishing that I never had glass 2 in this and it was just a review of glass number 1. So let's go ahead and find out what is in glass number 2. And let me know in the comments down below if you've had either one of these. What did you think about them? And based on the price that I will be revealing here in a little bit, would you be paying these prices for these bottles? All right, so glass number 2 was Knob Creek 12. That's disappointing. I did not think Knob Creek 12 actually had all of those bitter notes. And then I think I matched this up with a higher age Knob Creek. So I think they're both Knob Creek. So Knob Creek 18, and this is the second release, batch 002. So Knob Creek 18 and Knob Creek 12. So putting these bottles in here, higher aged bourbon. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the Knob Creek 12 is more widely available, and this is highly allocated. So let me go ahead and pull these two bottles off the shelf and verify why I think I put them into the matchup to begin with. And I think it's just readily available, relatively available in some markets, and then highly allocated, a little bit less expensive, a little bit more expensive. Let me go ahead and get the bottles. All right, so Knob Creek 18, Knob Creek 12, $59.99 for the Knob Creek 12, and then allocated $175 for the 18. They're both 100 proof, so I think I said probably 100 proof or a little bit more. And yeah, I'm gonna say that the bitterness, and I'd like to do this a little bit later, just kind of come back to the Knob Creek 12. I don't remember it being that bitter and that drying. And some matchups just might end up causing one of these to not sit so right on your palate. And that just may be the case for today. That's all I got for you today. Again, if you're interested in supporting the channel, the giveaway for August is ending on the 31st, which is going to be a Saturday. This video will be out one day, and then I'm going to cut off the deadline for the August giveaway. So wherever you're at in your journey, I hope you are enjoying it. And good luck to everybody that has donated for August. And I will be making that spin of the wheel on Wednesday, September 4th. So go ahead and stay tuned, and we'll talk to everybody later. Bye.